Finally, we are on the main event of Money in the Bank, the WWE Championship Money in the Bank match, which really isn't Money in the Bank anymore, but they're still calling it that. We've got Roman Reigns, Cesaro, John Cena, Randy Orton, Kane, Bray Wyatt, Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, and I'm pretty sure that that's it, but, you throw that many names out there, I'm going to lose track eventually. They just announced Kane earlier tonight on Monday Night Raw, so if you're not following that much, that's why he's in the match. And it's looking like one of the big favorites of the match is Roman Reigns. And that's kind of my guess. I think that they might go with Roman Reigns, but part of me's thinking something's going to go on here with John Cena. I don't know. I got this little bit of a feeling that John Cena is going to win here and drop the title to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. But that does not make sense to me. So that's why I really am having a hard time buying into that. But man, I can't see like any of these people really having any programs and stuff except for Seth Rollins. Not Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Because who's Cesaro going to face? Maybe John Cena. Okay.
Same person you just said.
What, Roman Reigns?
Brock Lesnar. No, Brock Lesnar.
It's obvious that that's where they're going.
That's true, but then Brock Lesnar's got to beat him for that, and that kind of kills Cesaro, doesn't it?
Why does Brock Lesnar have to beat him?
Because
why can't Cesaro beat Brock Lesnar? Fresh after Brock Lesnar defeating the Undertaker's streak? That's huge for a guy like Cesaro to accomplish that.
Yeah, but that's pointless. And what's the point of him breaking his streak?
That's just exactly why.
For some other random jabroni to beat him right after? That's stupid.
Yeah.
Why does that have to be some type of thing extended? Brock Lesnar beat the streak because he is a major beast and the Undertaker is an old, frail man. It's not that deep, but he has that title to him, so now Cesaro can go against this guy fresh off of that, and it's still believable that Cesaro could get a victory off of him. It's a huge, huge rub for Cesaro, so people are complaining, oh, nobody got a rub from the Undertaker defeat.
Undertaker.
This way, Cesaro gets the rub. Cesaro gets the rub from it that way.
It didn't sound like the Undertaker.
Go ahead.
Cesaro needs a heavy push before he's given that type of win, so if they can give him that much momentum, I'm all for him beating Brock Lesnar, but I don't know if they're going to do it because they always drop the ball on that type of thing. And honestly, I don't think Brock Lesnar should be beaten until WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, they pound that into our heads every day that Brock Lesnar beat the Undertaker's streak. To have Cesaro just out of the blue like this win it, beat him, even if they, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not believable, and that's I think it's good in theory, but it's not. It won't work. And I honestly do agree. Is it my turn to give the prediction? By the way,
you can toss some stuff out.
Apparently.
Sorry about that.
Go for it.
I do, as much as people say that Roman Reigns is going to win, I don't think he's going to win yet. I do see a title in his future, but I think a matchup between him and Triple H at SummerSlam is the direction that they're probably going to end up going. And I don't want the belt in that situation, because if Triple H beats him, I really don't want to see him with the WWE title belts. So given how bad business is for WWE, they usually end up putting the belt on Cena just to kind of get that pop. So I can see that happening. I have heard the rumors that they want to do Cena versus Brock. And it would make sense because Brock's first matchup coming back was a loss to Cena. So if they want to do that sequel and give him his win back, that'd be the perfect time to do it.
See, this is a problem that I have with the Brock Lesnar situation. I don't think that he should be the champion in any circumstance unless he's going to wrestle on a regular basis. And I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't want to see what they did with The Rock, where he wins the title and shows up on a week and a half's worth of Raw, and then that's supposed to justify it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
he showed up I think he showed up every other week to Raw when he was a champion.
Yeah, and that's just not good enough. And you know what? The Rock can pull that off a little bit better because he can actually cut some promos. Brock Lesnar can't.
Well, wait a minute. We just spent about a month or two with no WWE champion, and it was fine. The show cranked on just as normal.
I think that's actually one of the reasons why we can't do that again, because we just went through that. And if that's spending half a year without a champion. What are you saying, Pete?
It has not been fine. The past month has been some of the weakest Raws we've had.
Yeah. Past two Raws were
but having a strap of leather does not make a good or bad show. So
Yeah, the belt is a prop at this point. I mean, I get what you're saying that it does make sense to have the champ on more often, but with the way they've had that belt treated at points, it would not bother me, and you could still have the belt on TV. You just give it to Heyman, have Heyman hold on to it. I think it actually makes Brock look like a bigger heel that no one can get their hands on him to get the belt back. So when he finally does wrestle for it, it makes that even bigger. It makes that a much bigger deal. They can get him for a Survivor Series or for a Royal Rumble or something. It puts a mystique around the belt that I think the belt's been lacking for a while now.
Yeah, but if they do that, then you have to trust WWE to actually come up with actual feuds and not put matches on because there's no WWE champion. Yada yada yada. Bunch of crap I hate.
Well, they've been doing that now with the Shield. The Shield up until their breakup was holding up the fort over.
But what are they gonna do after this? Because that's essentially gonna be over after SummerSlam.
Well, they could still continue with the Rollins Reigns stuff. I think Reigns I think this is gonna be the chance to show that those guys can carry the show because you're not gonna have your champion on there.
Honestly, I don't know if a homeless guy could hold up the show, but you can say if you want to.
I congratulate your attempt to make a homeless guy joke, but if the Authority
let me finish it for you, Drew. If he can't hold up the show if he can't even hold up a car payment.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna go with
nice
holding
guy.
something up with Big Show's gun. But
it was like Drew's joke, but funny.
Hey, Paige, thank you.
so I think this is gonna be one of those matches that dictates what happens at WrestleMania, and that's actually one of the reasons why I don't want to see Cesaro win here, because I think how many people really are there that Cesaro can fight at WrestleMania that I would be interested in?
Sheamus.
There's John Cena, maybe. There's Daniel Bryan, and there's Brock Lesnar. I can't think of anybody else I'd really give a shit about. So
Jericho.
between those, I would rather see Daniel Bryan against somebody else probably. And then there's Brock Lesnar. So I don't want to see Cesaro against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam because then that ruins it for WrestleMania. I don't like the repeat stuff. And if that's the case, then if you knock him out, and I think we can all agree here, Kane's got no shot whatsoever, right? Nobody's going to try to back him.
No. I think Kane's got
no,
this, guys. No, guys.
Miguel,
I think Kane's got this.
I wouldn't rule it out totally, just based on the fact that they're going to want to pick up the Daniel Bryan Kane feud, but it's very highly unlikely.
And Del Rio, no shot whatsoever. Same with Sheamus too. Everybody agree to that?
No, I'm surprised if Sheamus injures himself. That's my prediction. He's gonna injure himself.
Well, he needs to do a spot
That's
with
my
Del
hope.
Rio, and they can both get injured for that.
Yeah,
No, Sin Cara comes out and does a spot, and they both get injured.
It beats Del Rio again. Wago goes, yay!
Yep.
So if we narrow it down to just the other people, Reigns, Cesaro, I mean, we pretty much talked about Cesaro there. So Reigns, John Cena, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt.
I didn't get my opinion in it.
Okay,
I haven't got mine yet as well.
You shut up, Drew.
go ahead, Wago, then we'll backtrack to Drew.
All right, so as far as who wins, it comes down to two people for me. It's either going to be John Cena or Bray Wyatt. And John Cena makes the most sense right now because Roman Reigns, it's way too early to put the belt on him. Cesaro, it's definitely way too early to put the belt on him. And I don't see anyone else in that matchup other than Bray and Cena that you can put it on. John Cena makes the most sense just because he's the marquee guy. And whilst you've got these guys who you're not too sure about, who might need a little more momentum before you put a belt on them, I think Cena's the go-to guy, especially if you want that marquee match with, say, a Brock Lesnar. The reason I would say Bray Wyatt is if they do want to do John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, I don't want it to be for a title. So you build that to SummerSlam, and you can have, say, if Daniel Bryan returns at SummerSlam, you've got Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt set. And honestly, I think they're going to do Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family walking out as all the champions.
Drew?
Miguel, what did you want to say something?
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'll wrap things up.
I fucking didn't say anything, but okay. Well, well, I don't know. Waco kind of said what I was gonna say. We haven't even talked about Bray Wyatt and John Cena, and honestly, I think John Cena makes the most sense because he's kind of started up this thing with Stephanie And I think it makes sense that if Cena goes against Authority now, because last year, they were talking about how they didn't want Cena to be the guy, the face of the company, and I think it makes sense to return to that, and maybe John Cena be the focal point of that going into SummerSlam. At least it makes sense from that standpoint. Bray Wyatt's also interesting, mainly because it's Bray Wyatt. I think it's too early it's too early for everyone but John Cena and Randy Orton to get the title. I understand if they put the title on Reigns, but if they do, someone else is gonna cash the title in on him as soon as he does it. I just really can't see one of the younger guys winning the title right now. It's either gonna be John Cena or Orton. I think it's gonna be Cena.
All right, Miguel.
I'm still sticking with John Cena, but they could just go with Randy Orton and just kind of just start off fresh, because that would probably be like, if they had no other direction to go into, that would probably be their last case scenario, is to put the belt on Orton and just kind of reset from there. It just shows that how much the Daniel Bryan injury really screwed up their plans, because wasn't the plan to have Bryan versus Brock at SummerSlam at one point?
And have the most unrealistic match ever behind CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. Yes.
Yeah, it should be like 2 fucking seconds.
No.
Like
no.
People Brock complained about, but fucking Daniel Bryan would be a whole nother story. That's even more unbelievable.
Yeah. No. And remember, the only reason Brock Lesnar is gonna win is because Paul Heyman interferes and hits fucking Bryan with a chair like he did with Punk. That was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It was a good match, but it was fucking retarded.
So who's the main pick that you're going with, Miguel?
Cena.
Just because of the same basic reasons.
Business is down. They need to really pep things up. Put the belt on Cena.
And Peyton, since we're backtracking here, final thoughts on this. Who do you think's winning? Who do you want to see if that's not the same person?
Well, when I was talking about Cesaro, that's who should win. I don't truly expect him to. I even don't expect Roman Reigns to, because I expect him just to get screwed out of it somehow. Or what I more than likely see him is some kind of big act of hubris where maybe he's got the match in the bag and he's up there and got his hand on it, but he decides to do a dive off of it, take out Seth Rollins through a table or something along those lines, and it screws him out of getting the final grabbing of the belt. My 2 favorites, I would have to say, Bray Wyatt's got a big shot, just because I was saying before, this is do or die for them. Cena's always a possibility, but gosh, I really goddamn hope not. And now that Wago brought this point up earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if Kane takes it. I mean, he only needs to hold it for a month or however long it takes for Daniel Bryan to get back, and then they hop right into their feud. That actually makes total perfect sense. I think it's someone that people are not expecting. Kane looked like a beast on Raw tonight, so it's someone we should probably actually take a little bit more seriously as a contender.
And just like the other one, gun to my head, if I have to pick who I think is going to end up winning, I'm going with
Rio.
I'm going with John Cena here. Del Rio.
Del Rio's in this match. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you're going with Del Rio. Tony's going with Del Rio. We all heard it here.
It's true. I'm actually a secret Del Rio fan. Overcompensating.
You did draft him in your original team.
Yeah, what a fucking dumb move of the God, that was terrible. That cursed my whole team this whole year.
This is why he's last.
Yeah, he's wearing the scarf right now.
Oh, speaking of fantasy league stuff, that's what we're gonna do in the last part coming up right now. So stay tuned.